Rashmi, I'm letting people in.
Get them in. Yep.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. May I request all to keep yourself on mute so that we'll avoid the background noise. We'll just wait for a couple of more minutes and then we'll get started. Some people are still joining. Thanks.
हो गया ना स्टार्ट?
Hi, can we all be on mute for some time? We will start in a couple of minutes. Let everyone join. Okay, I guess we are almost on time. So let's start. People are still joining, but we can get started. Just before we start, can anyone confirm that am I audible and is this screen visible? Okay, just put your questions in the chat if you have anything. We will take it up at the last of this presentation. So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Aditya Khudki. I'm part of SINE incubation team, and along with me, Rashmi ma'am and Shaji sir have also joined from SINE team. There are several other people from SINE team have joined, and this particular session is to provide the information regarding the new IOE funding support that we have launched in last week. We will be providing the information about all three supports that we have opened a call for application, and then we will take the question session at the end of this particular session. So I guess we can get started. I'll just start with a full screen. 1 second. Okay, so before we get into the IOE part, let me just introduce SINE. I'm not sure whether everyone here knows about SINE or not. So I'll just quickly introduce about SINE, what SINE does, and how this IOE grant is we have started. So SINE is a business incubator center hosted at IIT Bombay since 2004. Before that, we were also part of this ecosystem, but on a pilot mode. And then we formally started supporting startups, an idea which came from IIT Bombay ecosystem since 2004 and onwards. Initially, our focus was more on ICT part, but then we then we become a sector agnostic incubation center, and now we support almost all kind of support, all kind of startups. And then now yeah, so currently what kind of support that we provide? We provide support from initial stages to the revenue stage of the startup, and it covers all supports like mentoring, infrastructure, connection with the investor, connection with the stakeholders, all service providers which are present in the ecosystem, all technical supports that we can provide from IIT Bombay backup, along with the funding support, which we will be going to cover in this particular session. But there are different types of, there are different stages of funding, and it starts with the, no, I'm not. So there are different stages of funding, and we start with the grant, which comes at very early stage. It's kind of EIR support, and then from EIR to seed funding or leaf funding, the whole entire bunch of funding support that we provide at SINE. Some of them got covered under IOE. So yeah. So what's the IOE? Let me just explain about the IOE and how it came to IIT Bombay and how it came to SINE. So National Innovation and Startup Policy, NISP, in 2019, they have mandated that 1% of budget of any higher education technology, any higher educational organization should provide to entrepreneurship and innovation support. And IIT Bombay is doing that since last 4-5 years by supporting different startups, supporting different innovative ideas that coming out of IIT Bombay through various channels. IOE is one of such channel which provides a funding support to the startups. This is the first year that we have launched IOE, and this will be ongoing call from now onwards. But there are three different basic supports, three different types of funding support that we provide under IOE, which are listed on the slide. The first one is grant, which supports idea at POC stage, and then second one is translation research stage support, which is TRS, which can be also defined as seed funding or seed support, which comes at a little bit mature stage where you are working on prototype, you are almost at the end of development of your product, and now you want to launch it into the market. And third one is scale up stage support, which when you have launched your product into the market, now you want to scale up your product in the market. So these are the three stages of the startups, and these are the three funding support that we we will be providing under this IOE support. Now let's go through in detail for all those three supports. The first is grant support for idea and POC stage. This support is up to 9 lakhs. Why we have mentioned up to 9 lakhs? Because it depends on the idea, depends on the stage, and the domain of the company. So it might vary from 6 to 9, but it's up to 9 lakhs rupees. And who can avail this support is any individual, any person or any startup who has some sort of idea, who want to develop a prototype. They can use this grant support to develop their prototype at early stage. And only the proposed idea should be technology or science based or innovative, which should have a technical differentiator, and they can define their target market with respect to the current solutions available into the market. So that's the basic requirement that we have. Also, the particular person, individual or startup should have clear roadmap in their mind going forward in 18 months or in 36 months. What are their plans and what they want to do with this funding? So that needs to be clarified at the early stage of application itself. If you got selected for this grant, then the applicant it might be a startup or it might be an individual, there has to be pre-incubated at SINE. I'll just elaborate what kind of pre-incubation support that we provide. So pre-incubation is for the early stage startups, where we will provide them mentoring, we will provide them technical support to develop their prototype. We do have our labs where you can utilize those support and develop the prototype under that. So this this kind of support we provide under pre-incubation. And if you got selected under this grant, you have to be pre-incubated at SINE. Then so that we can avail all these kind of other supports as well, rather than only grant. An innovation grant cannot be availed more than once for the same project. So if you have applied for this particular cycle, you cannot apply for next cycle, because this is only once in a lifetime kind of grant. Yeah, so the applicant should not avail multiple grants under IOE Innovation Grant Program. Like same what I've mentioned earlier, you cannot apply for this grant particularly for several other times. And yeah, I'll go to the uses of the funds and on later stage, where I'll just explain about all those three different support that we provide. So next comes SID and LEAF fund. These two are different sorts of funding support that we provide. SIDS means TRS, which is translation, research or prototyping stage support, which is up to 30 lakhs, and its tenure is up to 18 months. This funding support we provide in terms of equity or equity linked instruments such as CCPS. So if you got shortlisted for this SID funding or LEAF funding, we will invest in the startup, particularly either in equity or in CCPS mode. So same goes with the scale up stage support, which is up to 50 lakhs, which is a little bit more in amount, but tenure will be 18 months and instrument will be equity or equity link support. Yeah. Sorry. Okay, let's get to the eligibility criteria of all these three. Sorry, funding support. So first, I've mentioned clearly that technology and science, the startup should be, or the idea should be in the technological domain and science-based domains. The applicant must be a startup for the DPIIT definition. So for grant support, it is not required that you should have a private limited company or you should have registration under DPIIT. But for SID funding and LEAF funding, before availing this funding, you have to have your startup registered, unless we cannot provide this kind of support to you. And who can apply? The student, faculty member, alumni, staff member of IIT Bombay, or with any established linkage with IIT Bombay through a faculty member or researchers, or if you have got IP license from IIT Bombay, so you can avail all these three supports from SINE. So there are different stages, as I mentioned earlier, for each and every support. So grant comes at very early stage, where you have an idea and you want to convert that into prototype. You can be individual, you can be a group of people, you can be a group of students or staff at IIT Bombay. Then you can avail this kind of grant support. SID comes at a later stage, where your POC is ready. You have proven your prototype in your lab. Now you want to convert it into the product. And for that support, that stage, you can leverage SID funding from SINE. And LEAP comes a much later stage, where you are MVP in the market. Now you want to scale up your sale into the market. At that stage, LEAP funding can be utilized. The applicant should not have raised funds more than 50 lakhs. So there are different, for these three different funding support, you should not raise more funding more than 50 lakhs or 1 crore or 2 crore. I'll elaborate. For grant, the applicant should not have raised funding more than 50 lakhs. For SID support, applicant should not have raised funding more than 1 crore. And for LEAP support, applicant should not have raised funding more than 2 crore. Because of these different stages, we have kept this cap for the different funding supports. The IP ownership should be either with IIT Bombay or with the applicant startups, or with the innovators who have been assigned to the startup. So IP can be owned by IIT Bombay or the applicant or the startups, any one of you that is feasible. Okay. So I'll go for the selection process, how we are going to select the startup for all these three grants. So first is the application that we will receive from your side. We have already opened a call for application on our website. You can go to our website. You will find out the link and all this information already available on the website. You can click and you can open the application form, where you can fill all the details the early pages comes with the information, background information about what kind of support we will be going to provide under this grant. And next further 3 or 4 sections will cover all the questionnaires that we will be asking, like product details about product, details about solution, your competitive landscape. Then if you have raised any funding, if you have raised any funding from any other investors, then how much funding you have raised, who have given those kind of funding supports. Uh, all these questions will come into this particular application form. Once we receive this application form, we will screen all the applications internally, and then and we will also check the eligibility criteria of each funding support, like grant, seed, and LIP. Everyone will be having a different eligibility criteria, as I mentioned earlier. If you are eligible, then only we will take you forward for the next stage. And if you got shortlisted, we will request all the shortlisted participants to present in front of the investment committee. We do have our investment committee, which combines the experts from different domains, the investors, and dignitaries from IIT Bombay itself. So this investment committee will review your idea, review your proposal, and on the basis of their feedback, we will decide whether to provide this support to any individual, any startup, or anyone from who have applied for this supports. Once it is finalized, then we will do financial due diligence for the seed and LIP shortlisted startups. So this is the standard procedure before any kind of investment. Investors do all these things. We have to check the financial backgrounds and everything. And then if that is clear, then we will go for the milestone finalization. These milestones will be for like next 18 months, and it will cover different aspects like product development, team building, your if you have to have any certification, regulatory aspects, everything will be covered under these milestones. For what purpose you are going to utilize this amount, and everything we will cover under these milestones. Once this milestones finalization done, we will sign the agreement, and amount will be disbursed to you. So this is the entire selection process that we have planned for all 3 supports, like grant, seed, and LIP, everything. Yeah. I guess we have one question. Are pre-final year students eligible for grants? Yes. Yeah. Students are also eligible for grants. You can apply for this. So I'll just quickly go through the last slide, and then we'll move to the question and answer session. So yeah. So for what purpose you can utilize this grant? So the grant support, seed support, and LIP support. So grant support is basically to convert your idea to prototype. So everything you can utilize to the under product development section, and then you can create a POC which could be tested in lab and which could be validated with your customers. For seed, LIP, and seed and LIP support, these are the 5 major parameters where you can utilize the money. So first is product development. Of course, once your POC or lab level prototype is ready, you can utilize this amount, either 30 lakhs or 50 lakhs, to develop a final product which can be deployed into the market. Manpower salaries, you can also use this funding for manpower, and this have a condition that 20%, we can maximum use 20% of this funding for this manpower or salaries. Marketing, yes, you can also utilize this funding for marketing. If your product is ready, you're already into the market, then if you want to use this money to do the social media marketing or to reach out to the customers, then you can utilize this money to reach out to different channels. Then there are contingency and overrun, where if you are seeking any kind of mentoring support from anyone, if you want to provide some honorarium to them, or any other travel or any other part, but this all will come with a cap kind of percentage kind of thing, like manpower has 20%, contingency have 10%, like this. And the professional services, you can also utilize this money for your service providers who are providing services in terms of legal, IP, or strategy, anything. So these are the basic broad broad parameters where you can utilize the funding. Okay, so this is it from my side. I'll just quickly go through the questions that you have shared. 1 second. I'll stop my. Okay, 1 second. Okay, this one we have covered. What is the duration of the whole process? Okay, we have launched application in last week, and it will the last date to apply for all these grants is 22nd of June. Post that, we will take 1 month to screen and evaluate the startups, and maybe hello. It's someone talking. Okay, so post that we will take another 1 month to screening and evaluation, and then we will finalize the presentation in front of IC committee. So almost three to 3.5 months will be required to complete this process. Second question was also saying the entire cycle of selection and onboarding may take around. Okay, already been answered. Preeti has a question. I have raised a grant for my project and I'll be setting the startup. Can I apply for this? Can I use this fund?
I think Aditya, I have replied to this question that she can apply, and every fund has its own expense here. So according to that, you can use that money for the purpose you want. So there are some, there is a provision for using the money for this service providers and setting up the startup. So you can use that. It depends on the upper cap of the fund item head.
Right. Okay, next is what does pre-incubation refer to? Yeah, I have not been very much clear. So pre-incubation is a support. So incubation support comes with several offerings from SINE for to take startup from start to scale level. So what are these offerings? These offerings comes with mentoring support. We also provide office space or infrastructure support. We also have lab support with us. We do connect startups with investors, with corporates, with other service providers from whom they can get all these services done. And we also have an internal team which supports startups. Whenever you feel any kind of difficulties, you can reach out to us, and we will try to help you to overcome those challenges. So all these supports comes in the incubation and pre-incubation stage. Only the difference is incubation stage, the startups are much mature, and they have sort of identify their product and the target market, and now they are ready to launch. For pre-incubation, startups are at very early stage. It's kind of 1 year support that we provide to the early stage startups. I hope I've made it clear.
So and also add to what Aditya said, for the pre-incubation, you will be pre-incubated with SINE for this program tenure. So we will be closely monitoring your progress and releasing the tranches of the funds based on your progress. So you have to be associated. It's not one-time activity. It is association for as long as you are under that program with SINE. Yeah, Aditya, over to you.
How much equity share will SINE or IOE will take in return of each scheme? Okay, so for grant is a direct support that we provide. It's a pure grant support that we provide to the startup. But for pre-incubation, we may charge some amount that we will clarify once the final applications has been done. For seed funding and LIF funding, there is a CCPS and equity based instrument that we use to invest into the startup. So CCPS means compulsory convertible preference share. So we will not value any startup, but whenever further round is raised, that valuation, this CCPS, our stake will convert into the equity. And I think this is this kind of instrument we will use for seed funding and LIF funding. Okay. Is NOC required I'm not sure which.
Yes. NOC will be required if you are working currently, you are a student, if you are a project staff, you need to get the NOC from the concerned authority. However, we are not making mandatory the question right now, but when you will be called for the presentation, before that you should get that NOC from the institute. Either it could be your HOD, it could be IRCC, depending on your role. Or your professor in charge, you have to give the NOC to sign. However, at the time of application, if you are not able to get it, that's fine, but you will need to submit it later.
Are these grants limits within India, or alumni from anywhere can apply? So these grants are limited to the stakeholders or the individuals who are Indian citizens. So they can be situated, so they can be in US, but they can apply, only the mandate is they should be an Indian citizen. And if startup is applying, the more than 51% of share should be held by Indian citizens. After 22nd June, can anyone apply as a second iteration? No, once we close this call for application, then you may not apply. Then you have to wait for another call for application. We will launch in some time. Can you please let us know about the technical documentation required for grant application? Take us through application process. I guess we have covered the application process in the presentation. So documentation we have listed on the application form. Once you open the application form, the first information is about the documentation only. So those kind of documentation will be required, and the application as I have covered, we will go through 4 or 5 different stages. Are interns working under IIT Bombay professor are eligible for grants? Rishmam, could you please?
As of now, no. But if your professor is willing to apply along with you, then probably yes. Only intern without any association with the professor for the particular project, not for the different work, but if whatever project or whatever idea you are applying, if professor of IIT Bombay is associated, then yes. Otherwise, only interns cannot apply.
Okay. For eligibility, could you please expand established linkage with IIT faculty or research association? I'm not sure whether I have got it. Could you please expand established linkage?
So
Explain.
establish linkage with IIT or research association, meaning that you have some IP from IIT Bombay, which you have transferred on with your startup, or if any faculty member is associated with you as a mentor or as an advisor, technical director, or anything, then you can apply. The startup founders may not be from IIT Bombay as alumni or student, but there is a linkage with IIT Bombay through either IP or IIT faculty.
Yeah. Please provide more information on idea stage. Is concept solution is compulsory while applying? Yeah, your solution, at least the basic concept of your solution should be there. So there should be a clear thought about your roadmap and the problem that you are solving. So it's not like anyone with any idea could apply. We will also check your roadmap too. So if the problem that you are solving and the solution you are providing is not matching, then it not get forward. But there should be a clear understanding about the problem and solution that you are providing. What is the tenure for a grant program? Rishmam, can you please?
Yeah, so for the grant program, it's from 12 to 18 months. But if you are able to complete before even 12 months, it is fine. Like the grant will be given maximum 18 months. It cannot go beyond that. So your milestones, your project work deliverables needs to be completed within 18 months.
So there is one interesting question. Can we apply for these 3 different categories or financial assistance with 3 different ideas? So let me just clarify one thing. These 3 different supports will be providing to the startup or individual itself. So in any startup or individual cannot work on different ideas at the same time. So we will be funding to the startup, not a project. So that's you cannot apply for all these three for all three different ideas. It should be one idea only. Or startup should be working on one product only. It is compulsory to have a product.
If it is at an idea stage, just to add to what Aditya said, if it is at an idea stage, you are not probably eligible for the other two categories. You're only eligible for the grant category. So effectively, you have to apply for only one category.
Yeah. Is it compulsory to have a product-based idea? So is it not? But there should be a technical differentiation that you are providing with the solution. If you are coming up with any software product, that is also fine, but it should not be a me too product that is already existing into the market. So that's a basic technical differentiation we look when we screen the application. Can you unmute me and I need to talk? Okay, we will unmute all the other participants at the end. Let me just cover the questions which I've posted in the chat. Does every member of startup have to get NOC? No, only one. You will get a NOC as a startup only. So there will be only one NOC required. What level of support would a clinical trial sort of stage qualify for? Rishman?
What level of support would a clinical trial sort of, I think it can come in the seed or leap, depending on the stage, but it can come under seed or leap, both.
Okay. I have an idea and develop prototype for the product, but I have no idea about setting up a startup. Can SINE help me? And if yes, who will be contacted? Yeah, sure. We will help you to set up a startup. You can reach out to SINE office. We are located on 3rd floor of CSRA building. We will support you how to establish a startup, and we'll also connect you with some service providers. So you can directly come to our office.
But that will not stop you from applying for the grant program. So as an individual, you can apply.
Yeah. Whether the amount will be granted in one shot or it will be parts. So it will be in a tranche mode. It will be for per milestone basis kind of thing. You have to provide 2 to 3 milestones over a period of 18 months, 12 to 18 months. And once we complete first milestones, we will provide the second tranche to you or third tranche to accordingly. We will provide. So it will be on tranche basis. It will not be a one shot grant for all three supports. For grant support, what type of startup registration stage is required? For grant support, it is not required to any kind of registration. Individual can also apply. And for seed and leap, it should be a private limited company. Will the startup be able to purchase back equity from SINE or IOE at later stage? Yes, but that comes at very later stage. If you have any specific question about equity, it will be covered during the financial DD or during that kind of discussion. Can postdocs apply?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. If we have certain services we provide under academic umbrella and now we want to provide the same under commercial idea, can we get support for the same? So it's typically depending upon what kind of services that you are providing. We will require some more clarification on that. What are the services and to whom you are providing these services? Then only we will be able to answer this question. I guess Arghya Banerjee has asked this question. I'll request Arghya. I'll unmute you at the end of this question answer session.
Or maybe if you want some detailed discussion, he can come to SINE office and we can have it offline, Arghya.
Sure. We'll have the offline chat. Can we apply to use the funding for covering conference expenses? For a certain amount, there will be a cap for that. You cannot utilize all this funding to cover conference expenses. What about the patent filing of the project that we apply for the grant? So we will support you to file a patent. If you already have a patent, then there will not be required to use this money to file, again for that particular patent. But if you are in process, then we have some sort of service provider connections with us. We will connect you with them and they will help you to file this patent. So that support we will provide. Can you please clarify what is meant by association? Does the professor should have equity in startup, or they can just be a guide? Yes, ma'am.
So for grant program, you can apply if having professor as a mentor, but going forward in the commercialization, the professor has to come on board. For the seed and leap, yes, there has to be some equity holding by the professor.
It was mentioned that the grant to support idea POC stage can be availed only once for a project, but if one applies and doesn't receive in the first call, can the same project can be? Yeah, you can apply again, but if you have got selected and if you have received this grant in the previously, then you can again apply for this funding. Are milestones required to be finalized in application stage? Yes, not in the application stage. If you have shortlisted for the funding, once this IC presentation is done, and if you receive any kind of mail from SINE that now we have shortlisted for such support, then we will proceed for the milestone finalization. It's not for the initial stage.
But for at the time of application, you should have a broader idea at least for what purpose you are asking this money for and what will be the deliverable. So broad level, you have to give some information in the application itself.
Yeah. Can we apply the same project for idea stage and POC stage? So basically, idea to POC stage will be covered in grant only. So you can apply for, if you have any one idea, you can apply for multiple codes. Can we do product manufacturing in the science space? It is for food supplement. So testing and development could be done, but manufacturing setup, we don't have that much advanced manufacturing setup right now. Yeah, but Rishma, if you could elaborate more on this.
Just a minute, I just missed the question. Where is it exactly?
So can we do product manufacturing in the science space? It is a food supplement product.
So for the pre-incubation, we give a co-working space in SINE. Beyond that, if you need some office space, there will be it will be based on case-to-case basis and the availability of the space. But if that space is sufficient for you, then probably you can do that, provided you follow the guidelines of SINE and IIT Bombay. So the detail maybe case to case we can discuss offline.
Yeah. Could you please elaborate what is the DPIIT definition for a startup? Okay, so startup definition according to DPIIT is the age of the company should not more than 10 years. And
sure, I think there are many clauses in that DPIIT. It will be better if you go to Startup India website and check the eligibility criteria to be a startup. I can post here the link. Give me a second. I'll post here the link of that. But you may go through the detail. That will be better.
Yeah. Similar doubt I have, even for seed funding, can we set up the company after getting grant by using the fund received? So for seed funding, you have to set up a company before it is finalized. So the amount should be given to the private limited company only. It cannot be formalized after utilization of funds or receive if you receive the funds.
So you can apply, but before you come for the presentation, you should have the company registered if you have been shortlisted.
Can we apply as a tech team group from campus with a project and not a startup? You can apply for grants, but you cannot apply for seed or leap support. As I mentioned, that support is only for startups. Okay. Can we use the grant for salary? There will be a limit for the salary portion that I have cleared it. Maximum 20% could be used for salary, not more than that.
It's for the manpower, not for the co-founder's salary. The applicant cannot take the money from that particular grant if he has some other source of income, he or she has.
On what basis will the first level screening be done? Also in application failing, do we have to submit a pitch deck? Yeah, you have to submit a pitch deck at the applications at the initial level. But on what basis the screening is be done is we have listed those parameters here. If you could see the screen, the broad criteria of review will cover the background of the team, their skill set, what kind of team what kind of skill set the founder members have, their value proposition, their problem solution. There should be a clear problem solution fit. The customer segment should be formalized very well. Size of the market, the startup must have the proper idea about the market size and all. There should be a chances of IP of if there should be a IP, or there should be a chances of IP going ahead. The roadmap should be clear for the development of product plus the growth of the startup, and whatever regulatory certifications or policies required, that the startup should be aware about that. So these are some broad criteria we look into while we screen the application. Are partnership firms eligible for the application to the grant? I guess this is also very personal kind of question. Radhika, if you could get some time and visit SINE office, we will discuss more on this. What kind of partnership firm, who are your customers, what are the services that you provide, that needs to be clarified. Once the product is developed, is it mandatory to incubate within the SINE? So depends. If you are applying for seed funding or leaf funding, yeah, you have to incubate at SINE. While when you are getting this funding support, once if you get shortlisted for lead and leap and seed support, you have to incubate. And if you got shortlisted on the grant, you have to pre-incubate. Can you share the PPT link? Okay, this PPT we will share. We will definitely share to the participants who are present here through the mail for references. If founder can't avail salary, then can we do freelancing and consulting? Rishma?
Yeah, that you can do. But your full-time, you should work full-time towards the project to completion also.
Okay, can you please elaborate what to be included in the pitch deck? So this information has been given to the application form. Once you start filling out, you will understand most of this, what should be covered in the pitch deck. We have also provided, for grant, we have also provided a template. Is there any eligibility criteria about team members, minimum team members or maximum team members? No, there is no such eligibility criteria on the number of team. But the founder skill set and background will be checked while screening the application. And for startup, the founding team, there should be at least 2 people into the startup, because that's a mandate to incorporate your company as a private limited. Then if founder can't avail salary, then okay, that we have covered. Okay, I guess we have covered all the questions in chat. If anyone have any question, they can raise their hands. I'll unmute them. Okay, Arghya.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Aditya. Just I wanted to ask one thing.
Yeah.
Suppose like we are providing certain services. So I am from biosciences department, okay, and currently I have done both my PhD and I'm an internal postdoc here now.
Okay.
Basically, we are working on the startup which are providing services, not a new idea, but to capture the existing market. Now we have been providing the services under the academic umbrella, but you know the norms of the academic umbrella that you cannot go beyond a certain thing. And if there is a commercial aspect, like if you bring it under the commercial aspect and there is a huge scope of revenue generation and the flow of the model, in that cases, if I work under my postdoc will be ending in September. So in that cases, if I am working under, then which grant to apply and how I can avail that for my support. So, and basically I will be using the facilities from IIT only. And this will be basically a joint operation with my professor.
Okay. Rishma?
So Arghya, if you want to avail this grant right now, even as an individual, if you apply, that is okay, but you have to have the startup. So there should be a commercial roadmap via startup, not via IIT Bombay.
So in case also, if you are filing under the commercial roadmap also, but I will be using the facilities from the IIT Bombay only.
So that agreement has to be between your startup and IIT Bombay. So I don't know whether it can go through only your professor or it has to go through IRCC. It depends on that arrangement, but that commercial arrangement will be between you, your startup, not you, your startup and IIT Bombay. That you will be using some facilities and you will be paying them.
Okay, okay.
So
So
that will
can
be
I apply for that seed supply grant, like support grant?
seed grant you can apply, but before you come for the presentation, you should have startup incorporated. The seed or
That 9 lakhs one support grant, I think.
9 is the
Only-
grant. Yeah, only for
only
that
for the
support
idea.
grant you can apply as an individual.
Okay, okay.
Okay. Hariharan. Hi, Mr. Hariharan.
So I just wanted to clarify again. So if I'm applying as an individual for the grant, so only I need to pre-incubate, but not, I don't want, even the product is developed, I don't want to incubate within the SINE, right?
Acha, once that's totally your choice. For the time period, you will be pre-incubated at SINE. For the time period you have got this grant, you will be pre-incubated at SINE. Going ahead, if you
Okay,
want
sir.
to aware incubation support, you can, or if you don't, you don't.
Okay, so but it is not mandatory to be there in that incubation.
No. Once the tenure is completed, you can go out also.
So incubation
Okay,
can
sir.
be virtual also. We are not saying that incubation means you have to be incubated or pre-incubated. That means you have to be within the SINE premises. It could be in the virtual mode. It could be in the physical mode also.
Okay, ma'am, fine. Okay, ma'am, thank you.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Sir, one minute.
Can you unmute yourself again?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, this application process is totally online, na? Initially,
Yes.
or we need to visit office.
No, it's totally online. It's on a virtual basis only.
Okay, and sir, if we are selected for grant support, so we can get the proper mentorship, na, for the sector in which we are working. Like you would give us that network, na?
Yeah.
Yes.
We will provide the mentoring support.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
I think there are a few more questions on the chat box also, but the
Yeah.
Junaid has
Junaid
raised.
has one question. Junaid, can you unmute yourself and
Yeah, can you hear me?
yeah.
Okay, so I have this question. I'm currently, working as a postdoc here at IIT Bombay.
Okay.
So I wanted to know, the startup idea that I have is not related to what I'm working. It's somewhat related, but not exactly related. So if I have to submit NOC, do I need to submit NOC is my first question.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because if you are working on some different idea, you are a full-time staff at IIT Bombay, and your professor in charge should know about what is there anything else what you are doing. So we need that NOC from your professor.
Okay. And the other question I have is, for that idea, if, for example, I'm planning to sort of, the funding that I will get. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm having 2 minutes. Hello? Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you, Junaid.
Okay. So I wanted to know for this product, so I don't have to be here. I don't know how to say this, but if, for example, I'm getting this funding, so it won't interfere in my postdoc, right?
If you're getting
Interfere in postdoc meaning you will be working as a postdoc.
Okay, so that won't change.
Parallelly, you will be working on this project. Only thing is that your professor should be aware about that you are
Okay.
working on this project. That's it.
Got it. Got
And
it.
for
Got it.
this project, anything you are using from IIT Bombay resources facilities, your professor should be allowed. Should
Okay.
allow you.
Okay, got it. Got it. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, Sridhar sir has a question. Do we need to a faculty advisor even if we have a faculty member? No, if faculty member is a part of team, then there is a direct connection with IIT Bombay. I am a PhD student and going ahead with the product startup, and my profs will be my advisor, but I don't have any other co-founders. Okay, then also you are eligible to apply for any grant or seed funding. Only thing is that before, as we mentioned prior, that you should have a private limited company before getting the seed funding and lift funding. That's it. Would we be eligible if we have a PhD student as an advisor, or should PhD students need to have an equity? So for grant, the equity structure will not come in place, but for seed funding, that totally depend upon the the team that you are building. So if student is willing to be full-time part of this startup, then he will of course have the equity.
So I think there is one more question from Shruti. You won't allow one-person company. So for grant, it's okay. But for the seed, if you get selected, you have to convert your one-person company into private limited. If you have a private limited company, then only you can avail the seed and leave.
Is the grant differentiated into sectors like healthcare, industrial? No, actually anyone could apply. It's a sector agnostic. So when is the next round for applying for this? So it's we will get back to you on this when the next round of applying for this will be open.
Yeah, at the moment, it is not fixed.
Yeah. Shruti is at the seed stage. Okay. If an undergraduate application gets selected, then will he be allowed to work on a startup along with his studies? For grants, yes, but if you are part of a startup, then you have to be full-time member of the startup.
But even for that undergraduate, you have to get the NOC from IIT.
Yeah.
Then you will be allowed to work for your project.
What will SINE get in return from us in case of grant? Okay, yes, ma'am.
So as such, this is a grant. There's nothing in return, but there will be some pre-incubation charges till the time you will be pre-incubated with SINE for the tenure of the project and your success.
Yeah. For said lift funding, whether all funding is in form of equity. So yeah, it will be equity or equity instruments only. Do we need to have a team at application stage? It's better to have a team at early as possible, but individual can apply for grant. And if we are startup, we will of course have a team of 2 to 3 people. What is the approximate equity that the company needs to share? So this thing we will clear once the application level is finalized. It's not like any particular number, but that totally depend upon the case-to-case basis.
It depends on the amount of funding sanctioned for you, and it is mostly it will be in terms of CCPS.
Yeah, and also depends upon the valuation. So it changes. What are the approximate pre-incubation charges in case of grant? Okay.
So we will inform you.
Yeah.
As soon as the applications are closed.
Yeah. So the charges will be informed once these applications are closed and if you got shortlisted. I guess we are done with the questions in chat. If anyone have again any specific question, they can raise their hand, or I have mentioned our email ID in the chat. You can reach out to us on email also, and we are based in campus itself, so you can anytime come to SINE office and we will help you to understand if you have any difficulties.
So we may have one more round of outreach or ask me kind of question session next week. So if you have any other doubts while filling up the forms or anything, you may join the session again and ask your doubts.
Specific cap of number of grantees? No, there is no such specific cap. It's totally depending upon the number of applications that we receive and amount of funding that we have. So we cannot give you any specific number. Okay. Thank you all. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you so much for asking this.
Aditya, there was
Yeah.
one more question. Sorry.
Okay.
We can pay the charges from the grant only? No.
No.
No, you cannot pay the charges from the grant.
Not only to SINE, but if you are incubated somewhere else and if you got this grant, you cannot pay these charges for rent or any other such form.
So in the job form, we have clearly mentioned what you can pay from or what you can use this fund for and what not. So please do read the eligibility criteria as well as those terms and conditions. In the job form, you will find all that and you will be doing that undertaking.
Yeah, also you cannot use this grant to repay the loans and all. So please keep this in mind when you fill the application form.
Any other doubt, you can write to us on IOE @ I'll just post it on the chat, IOE @sineIITB.org. Or you can come to SINE office.
Yeah.
Actually, you also posted. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for participating. If you have any specific question, do let us know. Do reach out to us on email or personally also. We'll be here. Thanks. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you.